steak dead, man. Pica de China. Ano ka no China? Like you de puta backward, man. The manzanas, no ayotes.
Are you on? You're gonna have to turn the
Okay. Good night and welcome to another in the series of our online town hall meeting. We're happy that you have taken time out to join us from your busy schedule. We want to remind our viewers that we have started a system where we now will try to put a certain amount of time towards looking at the issues as it faces Belmopan, and then use our last half an hour. We will use 1 hour and a half tonight, and we'll use our first hour to look at issues surrounding Belmopan and then going into other topics. Kind of remember that you are able to ask any questions. However, tonight, one of the main things we want to focus on is healthcare in Belmopan. All right? So that is where we will start. Good night, Arthur.
Good night, Madam Chair. Good night, ladies and gentlemen of Belmopan, viewers on the internet. Thank you once again for letting me into your home and sharing your time with me. I look forward to fielding your questions and communicating with you as we continue our weekly dialogue, this great conversation for development of our constituency and our great city, Belmopan. Buenas noches, damas y caballeros. Muchísimas gracias para permitirme entrar a su casa para compartir este tiempo a conversar del desarrollo de nuestra constituencia y nuestra ciudad. Muchísimas gracias.
All right. So as I had mentioned before, we want to more or less recognize, or for you to recognize, that the main purpose of our town hall is to try to ensure that we have community empowerment. By your participation, we are able to give power back to the people because you are able then to say your concern. We had, as I mentioned also before, we want to focus a little bit more about our plans as it relates to healthcare in Belmopan. We know that for any nation to develop properly, health is the wealth, because only people who are healthy are able to work. And so to be productive citizen, one of the most vital organs that we have to ensure that is there is that of first preventative, cure, and then secondary health care. All right? And we want to ensure that as individuals, we look after ourselves properly. All right?
Right. And good night once again, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the situation. When Belmopan was first envisioned and when it first opened, we were at the forefront of healthcare in the nation. The Western Regional Hospital, as it was then was called, the Belmopan Hospital, although it was not the biggest, it was the best equipped. Now, over time, we have had the situation where the hospital itself has been run down, although there has been some attempts at putting fixes here and there, it has been more a patchwork type renovation rather than a full comprehensive uplift or upgrading of the healthcare facility. At this point, the Belmopan Hospital is too small to accommodate the growing population of Belmopan. It is very reassuring to see that the private healthcare providers are seeking to fill the space. We have the Belize, the Belmopan Medical Center, we have St. Luke's and other private healthcare facilities going up, and that is encouraging. However, the public sector healthcare facility must be upgraded and restored, and there is need for another. The reason for this, healthcare in Belize on a whole is expensive, and in Belmopan it is very expensive also. You're talking about a situation where young mothers, pregnant mothers, going into the hospital to have delivery of their babies, are being required to pay $500 a pint for blood. This is a high cost at any time, but especially right now, where so many of our people are either out of work or working for minimum wage. So there is certainly a need to address this. Now, I will say this and repeat what my chairlady has mentioned earlier. It is key to any developing nation and any community that seeks to have development to ensure that the time between a person being ill and unable to work to the time where they can receive treatment and be back on the road to recovery so that they can return to work is short. That is critical. It is critical because every downtime that you are away from work is time off the job site where production is not being done and revenue is not being generated. We seek to have development, we need to have our people at work. Our healthcare facility is key to that. And here's what I believe should happen in Belmopan, where healthcare is concerned. Belmopan is the headquarters for the Social Security Board. The Social Security Board is the entity that collects from every working person in Belize, employed privately or publicly, by the private sector or by the public sector, a portion of their salary that goes towards their Social Security benefits. Most people don't access their Social Security benefits. And many times when they do need those Social Security benefits, it's a very hard process, an arduous process that they are made to go through. It is my belief that of all the many investments Social Security can make, the one most essential investment they should make in the city of Belmopan is a new modern healthcare facility. The Social Security Board should earmark funds for the construction of such a facility, as such a facility will not only improve healthcare availability and accessibility in Belmopan, but it will also engender in Belmopan medical tourism. We're not talking about recreating what already exists. We are talking about a full, comprehensive trauma, emergency, and special care unit that is financed by Social Security funds to offset the need for Social Security contributors having to go abroad to access specialized care. We have enough trained professionals in the diaspora who, if having the opportunity in Belize to give their service, would so do. But we have to create the facility to house and accommodate those persons so that they can come and give back of their expertise to us here in Belize. This is where Social Security needs to look earnestly at how they develop and invest the monies that are contributed to the fund, as opposed to the many failed and bad investments encouraged by cabinet and parliament from time to time. One of the bases I believe this could work is where Social Security, by virtue of its contribution, allows for those who are contributors to access healthcare using their Social Security card. So you're already having a captured clientele coming to such a facility. But then what also happens is that by offering specialized care, you are allowing for persons from abroad who need that kind of care to come in to access it here in Belize. So that is one of the things that I believe could be done in Belmopan, to present another healthcare facility, one that can carry us the next step to allow for more specialized care being offered. But outside of that, we must also look at the 5 satellite communities of Belmopan: La Rivera, San Martin, Mayamopan, Salvapan, Las Flores. These communities need to have medical health centers, small but effective, to offset the congestion that occurs every day at the Western Regional Hospital. There must be outpatient clinics in our outlying communities so that healthcare services are easily accessible within those communities, and matters that could be dealt with easily could be dealt with there, and only referrals that cannot be handled by such a small facility sent on to the bigger ones. This is how we need to approach addressing the needs of our people in Belmopan, so that at the end of the day, we are providing the best service at the most reasonable cost. Again, by doing this, we not only improve accessibility, but we engender more commercial activity around these things. Because at the end of the day, we would be having a more orderly and a more efficient service being provided. And this is what I believe we should all be striving for: more orderly, more efficient service.
And one of the things we have to look at too, my candidate, is that of the cost. Many times these people who are outside in the communities of Belmopan have to get a taxi to go and have to get a taxi to come.
Yes.
And when you look at it, even if you have to use your own gas, compare how long those people have to work to buy back that gallon of gas that they have to move.
A gallon of gas is above $11, and especially for those who are working for minimum wage, you're having to work between 4 to 5 hours to afford a gallon of gas. But what is most disturbing is that when you go to the Western Regional Hospital, from the time you leave the road that goes to what they call it, not Princess Margaret, it's Princess who, that boulevard that we have there, Queen Elizabeth Boulevard. From the time you leave Queen Elizabeth Boulevard and take that right turn into Western Regional Hospital, if the patient is undying, he or she will die just from the condition of the road going into the hospital. It is so bad. It is so bad. I do not understand how it is that we can be boasting about cement streets when the carriageway from Queen Elizabeth Drive to the front of the emergency care unit at the Western Regional Hospital is a little bit better than a Picardo Road, filled with holes. Filled with holes. That should have been the smoothest, most pristine pavement money can afford, because you are dealing with persons who are ill. Not to mention, the ambulances are in a deplorable condition. Lights not working, shocks non-existent. By picking up our people in the ambulance, we're actually contributing to their demise. Where is the Minister of Health on this? This is Belmopan. This is the capital. We deserve better. I shudder to think that one day something happens at the House of Parliament and one of these parliamentarians need to be picked up by the ambulance and taken to the Belmopan hospital. I don't believe that they will like the experience. So if it is not good enough for you, it is not good enough for us, the people of Belmopan. It is time to address that carriageway. It is time to address the condition of the ambulance service in Belmopan.
Michelle Truck writes, why can't they fund dialysis treatment for people whose life depend on it? What happened to those monies that beneficiaries die, leaving where they don't have any minor children or spouse to benefit? We need to advocate for better in this field. I saw too this week our case with one of my very good friend, Glenn Tillett, the problems that he is facing trying to pay for dialysis.
Yes. Yes.
You die.
I understand it's at least $200 a session.
Try $250 and sometimes $5.
This is certainly out of reach for the average Belizean person.
And so you get dialysis not only once a week, sometimes you have to have it twice.
Precisely. And here is the deal. We are finding that more and more of our people are becoming susceptible to diabetes and hypertension because our government, our public sector, has not invested in the productive sector. Farmers are leaving their fields. We are not getting access to fresh produce, so we are not eating the best possible food that we can eat. A lot of us are being made to eat processed food. So as a result of this, and mind you, it's because we all are seeking to stretch our dollar. So most people are buying the processed food, they are putting it up for that rainy day, and sometimes that becomes the staple of the diet. And as a result of that, it is causing for a rapid deterioration in our health and making us susceptible to these kinds of maladies. And as a result of that, now we are having so many requiring the service, and the service being so expensive that people are dying for want of health care.
Ariane Lightfoot writes, medicine should never be a profit-driven industry. Look at the U.S. government medical care, but only for those who can afford it. Then look at Europe and Canada.
Yeah.
Belize is too small for a profit-driven medical industry.
That is true, Aria. And this is one of the reasons why I'm here to address healthcare. All my life, I've been around medicine and medical personnel. I grew up in a home that was in and of itself a little mini clinic, because my mother never turned away anybody. She was a nurse, became a nurse practitioner, went all the way up through the system, and loved and still love her profession. So I am very much attuned to what healthcare service requires and why it is important. it is something that is near and dear to me because I have seen where it makes a difference from a personal, first-hand point of view. I know that we were doing much better than we are now in the past, and that is a sad thing. With the advance of time and technology, instead of us getting better in healthcare, we have gone way back. Because, as you have rightly said, instead of the desire to assist from a humanitarian level, we have gone to a profit-driven healthcare philosophy. It cannot be like that anymore. It cannot be like that going forward. Not as it relates to Belize and Belizeans. If it is that we are providing specialized care and others are coming to utilize the service, there should be a fee commensurate to the service being provided. But we must be able to provide for our people health care at an affordable rate across the board. Right now, what is taking place is that there has been gross manipulation in the access to medicine. So only a special hand-picked few are being made to import medicine. And this is, again, something that is being manipulated by the political directorate. We have pharmacies closing down because they are not in line with the present political thinking. And as a result of that, availability to medicines going down. Medicines that people depend on for serious health issues are no longer being imported because pharma suppliers are being blocked from bringing medicines simply because they are not in line with the Minister of Health and those he have in that particular position directing the pharmaceutical industry in Belize.
Not only that, what I found out, because I'll be honest, I come from a line of where in my home we've had our share of problems as it relates to medical illness. However, the other day I saw, when I shopped around a little bit for some of the pills that I need every day, this drugstore have it for a certain amount of money, and then some drugstore have it twice, 3 times as much, and for the same medication that you need. There is no control in the price and how some of these pharmacies hike the prices of some of the medication that they give to you, and because they know that you need it, people will try to do everything they can to ensure that they get the medication that is necessary. And I think that there should be some type of way in which government can honestly look at the problem, and instead of getting a middleman to import, somebody should be employed in the public service. Let them be the one to bring in the medication, and we have control over certain things.
Well, I will say this. I'm a major proponent of the private sector, and I believe in private sector empowerment, but there must be standards, and there must be consumer protection. In fact, I remember some time ago there was a Consumer Protection Bureau,
yes,
on Regent Street. That no longer exists, I presume, but it is something that is sorely needed. But Belize has become now, and our Belizean people has become prime targets for exploitation in every facet, not only in pharmaceuticals and medicines, but in other areas as well. But since this is what we are talking about tonight, mainly as it relates to Belmopan and our needs here, because going around Belmopan, you get to appreciate that a large number of us, a large part of our population is getting older. Okay, we have retired public servants, retired teachers, retired nurses, And all of these people who have given great service to our community and to our country are now in need of the healthcare facility because they from time to time are suffering certain maladies, certain ailments. And I meet them at the drugstore, I meet them at the hospital, and I'm hearing their complaints. And their complaints are all valid. We need to do better in Belmopan. It is time for us to address these issues because it's not only for those who are retired. We have young persons too. All of us need health care. It is one of the things that you don't really want to think about, but you hope that it exists when you need it, in terms of the facilities and the personnel that are there. And one of the problems that we are having is that we have too many interns. Too many interns working the late shift at the hospital. People who don't have the experience to attend to patients coming in. So there's great confusion. There's great anxiety from patients going into the hospital, not being able to speak to someone that they are satisfied understands what's going on with them at that critical time when they need attention. It is as if the Minister of Health and the Director of Health Services in Belmopan are sleeping behind the wheel. We cannot have this. Our people deserve better.
What one can look at too is the ripple effect if you get a very good hospital for people, how it will affect people coming to Belmopan to seek better medical care.
Well, this is it. Again, we are talking about how we improve Belmopan, how we can develop our community, and certainly because we are the seat of parliament, because we are the capital, we should be getting these kinds of development. I'm saying that it is for Social Security to build a modern hospital here. I'm saying that once that hospital is built, we get medical tourism, not only from abroad, but locally. It should never be that we should be taking patients from Belmopan to Belize City. It should be the other way around. Patients from Belize City should be coming to Belmopan. Right now we are in the hurricane season. From June to October or November, we're in a hurricane season. What happens if we have a major disaster? Belize City is not the place anybody will seek to go. So where are you going to take patients with serious injuries if the Belize City Hospital or the Carl Huschner Memorial Hospital is rendered out of order?
It's collapsing without a disaster. Imagine if a disaster comes.
Where will people go? Where will you take them? The investment has to be made in Belmopan. So instead of John Saldiva pumping his chest and hanging up Shine Barrow, he should be lobbying to ensure that we get a proper hospital in Belmopan. Because I don't want to wait until I beat him to have that happen. I want it to happen now. Let it happen now. Beat your chest about something. Put that on your resume. You don't even have to give me credit for telling you. Just get it done.
And when you have a proper hospital, people will come, they will need to stay in hotels, they will need to eat. So the economic benefit, the transportation that will be needed will be trifold. You will have an economy, a different sector of the economy that will boom because of a better hospital.
It is an investment that has great multiplier effect. Great multiplier effect. The taxi services will be enhanced. as you rightly said, your restaurant and other businesses will be enhanced because you will have more people coming in, more people needing those services. So it's a boost to the economy, a very serious boost to the economy. Just that one investment. So John Saldiva, it is time to put down the fork and the knife, push away the steak for a while, get on your feet and start to get the job done. Bring the investment into Belmopan for a proper hospital. You can do without a few lunches. I've seen you, my brother.
Keisha Neal writes, but Belize City can't help either. They don't have anything. A lot of people will die. She says the whole country needs new hospital, not just Belmopan. While Michael Usher is telling you, I'm tired of encountering poor Belizeans with letters asking for monetary donation to purchase medication that the government hospital pharmacy does not have.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes. And Mr. Mike, good night, Mr. Mike. A lot of people don't know Mr. Mike is one of our retirees, one of those persons who have given service and continues to give service. You see?
All right.
So good night and thank you for your
Backbone to
contribution.
our Belmopan Society.
He surely is.
We've gone into our first half hour of our segment, and we were changing it up a bit to another topic, where Michelle Trapp is writing, Arthur, I believe that it is stated that PUP is going back to its roots of focusing on people. In line with what you are preparing to go on the record to the policy where public officers who would serve in government service for a minimum of 5 years automatically entitled to a piece of government land. All right?
Yes. Yes. That again, this is something that I believe should have been dealt with a long time ago. First and foremost, every Belizean is entitled to a piece of land. But those especially who have contributed to the development of the nation in the public sector, they should be rewarded. I do not see the reason why any police officer, any member of the Belize Defense Force, any nurse, any teacher should be without their own land. And when I say land, I mean land. At least an acre. Not a little 60 by 80 lot. What can be done with that? Give people enough space to put in a proper garden, to have a proper planting in their yard. Look at Belmopan. When we came to Belmopan to settle in 1974, my family, and we met all the other families here that were here at that time and the ones that came after, one of the first things we did was starting to plant fruit trees. Fruit trees were planted all over. As a child, I could get coconut, golden plum, mango, any kind of fruit you could think of, readily available, because there was enough land to plant. It made the quality of life so much better than to go to Belize City and see some of the times these small lots that is nothing but zinc and sand. That has to be depressing. That has to send some people it puts stress on the mind. This is one of the beauty of Belmopan. With the space to plant, to grow, and the green, it allows for a more holistic and calmer existence. So yes, I agree with you, Michelle. If we are going to go back to our social justice roots and go back to the fundamental, taking care of our people, that minimum 5-year requirement of giving service should entitle you to at least an acre of land, anywhere you choose.
All right. And yes, Kishani says it is true. Belize still have a lot of land, and we have to be careful that people just don't get the land, however, and they go back and sell the land to some foreigner or the first foreigner that comes back. But sometimes we understand that people do these things because of the situation. When you have one health crisis and you have nothing else to do, you sell what you could to get your loved ones attended to. But we also have to develop some type of policy where people who get land should have certain binding agreement that at least for a certain amount of years that land cannot be sold again.
Listen, again, we live in a democracy, and we cannot dictate what people do with with their own property. Your property is your own. We can only educate, and that's what we need to do more: educate our people about the value of land, so that when they have land, they understand what to do and what not to do with it. Your land is the source of your wealth. He who has land has wealth. So it is to be understood that once people are educated and they make decisions based on information, then it's not for us to say whether that was good or bad. It's up to them, because we don't know their situation. We will only hope that with proper education they will make sound decisions. But I cannot say that they should not sell or they should sell or what. Personally, I don't sell.
All right. Now let's focus a little bit on the community empowerment aspect of your plan. We know that individual, the family, the society is important for a community to be properly developed. We are a brother's keeper. And I could remember growing up in Belmopan, going to, at the time, infant school and then junior school.
Yes.
We had no fences. Everybody knew everybody. We were able to walk, and anybody could come out and tell you, look, get home. The time for this, the time for that. And you knew everybody on your street.
Right.
All right? That has changed with our with development. And yes, we have to accept certain degree of changes.
The main reason why that has changed, Glennis, is because today, instead of our Belmopan residents having the ability to work and earn a living within the confines of the city, many of our residents have to go outside to find work. This is more time away from their families. So where we had in the past the situation where our parents worked in Belmopan and they could be home at 12 o'clock and we could be home at 5 o'clock, which kept us as children then in line, that's no longer the case. So in order to bring back Belmopan to what it has been and to keep it at the forefront of development in Belize, we need to bring jobs into the city, meaningful jobs, long-term employment into the city. We have lost a number of industries in Belmopan. Some of you will remember the Toucan Match Factory. The government of Belize did not appreciate Toucan Match Factory and what Mr. Alja Bradley was seeking to do, and they undermined it, and now it is no more. But we need that entrepreneurial spirit to be reignited. We need private sector investment in Belmopan. It should never be that we lose industries that we could keep, industries that we need. Because I know in every household, no matter how great technology gets, you're still striking a match to light your stove. We had our own, now we don't. It is my task, and it would be my duty with your support to get investment back into Belmopan so that our people can have work in this city and our children can have their parents home at a reasonable hour to ensure that their quality and their standard of living improve.
We also have a comment from Mr. Mike Marta. He said a number of lots were given aside in Lawrence Bank Village for BDF personnel. I understand that those lots have been given to Terry Boots Martinez. What is the Minister of BDF doing? He has been silent.
The Minister of BDF? The Minister of National Security? The big deal. The big deal, I believe Mr. Mike is seeking to become leader of this defunct administration that is now occupying Parliament in Belmopan. I do not see him doing anything in Belmopan. He continues to tout streets that were built while the Petro-Caribbean money was still in large supply. And I want to address something as it relates to Petro-Caribbean and Venezuela. Venezuela is having serious issues as it relates to their own economy and their social situation in that country. Belize has not offered any plan whatsoever to make a determination how they could assist, how we could assist. I know we don't have the money, but don't tell me that we don't have land. What difficulty would it be? What difficulty would it be to have Venezuelan farmers and other such people be brought here to cultivate land, to produce food, to send back to Venezuela as a means for us to repay the debt that we owe that country? It seems to me that our government of Belize is using the U.S. restriction as a shield to not honor their obligation.
We're not grateful for those who have helped us.
Precisely. And others are looking. We are putting ourselves in a bad light. I believe government should set about creating the opportunity for those in Venezuela who can, through some government program, be brought to Belize with technology that I know is existent in Venezuela to develop and cultivate food for that country, as it is my appreciation from what I have seen in terms of news coming out of Venezuela that there is a crisis, food shortage. And by them coming here and doing this, they can also assist us, because we are having our own crisis that is developing. But we are with.
Mr. Mike also reminds that the cement streets constructed by John Saldiva and the City Council are breaking up already and needs repaired. So the quality of streets that have been given, we have streets that have been here when Belmopan was first developed, and they're still here. And the new streets are breaking up.
Listen, Garza Avenue, original street, has not been repaired. Kiskidi, original street, still holding up, not been repaired. Maka, original street, not been repaired, still holding up. Sinsonte, original street, still holding up. Tucan, original street, still holding up.
So what?
Oriolo,
So how comes since 1970 we could have streets that are still holding up, and then we have streets that are 1 year old and breaking up? What? I've seen after 3 months some of them break up. What are we doing?
well, what we are doing is that we are sacrificing workmanship and planning for the hustle. And this is basically what has taken place. We have basically given our people substandard product because the interest was not really to put in place proper infrastructure, but only to ensure that there was a justification for the money spent. That is the bottom line. Now, as a result of this, taxpayers will have to foot that bill again, and it seems to me that this has been a recurrent theme year in, year out, where we are winding up spending money over and over for the same things. It has to be more than just street construction and street repair, and always the same streets. Even after you put cement and a little bit of steel. I mean, it's no surprise, Glennis, that a street that is built with 3/8 steel and less than 6 inches thick would break up in less than 2 years or 3 years. That's no surprise to me. It's less steel and less cement than the foundation of most of the homes in Belmopan. The foundation and floor slab. So it's no surprise.
Moses Salt writes, we owe the Venezuelan government millions. We can start paying them in items they would like after consultation with them. That is true.
Of course.
We could send some rice. We could send things that we do have.
It would require a reinvestment, an investment in the productive sector. It would require us making available through some program those persons who have the expertise in that country to come over to assist us in upgrading our production capacity, whether it be in rice, beans, cattle rearing, whatever it may be. But open the door for it to happen. We need more production in Belize. We need to produce the capacity, and these people can assist us in doing that, while at the same time assisting us to repay the debt that we have incurred with them.
Okay. We have 10 minutes of this hour that we have set aside to look at Belmopan. What I want to ask you is to put some of these now in Spanish, because we have to apologize tonight. We have neglected our Spanish speakers. Mr. Iko is not with us tonight, so our Mayan speakers, we promise you that next week we will look at some of these issues. But please let us just give a small recap on medical care and community empowerment.
Sí, la cosa que estaba explicando a nuestra gente es que ahora en Belmopan el hospital no es lo mejor que podía hacer. Nuestro hospital estaba antes la primera facilidad para la salud de la gente que existe en nuestro país, pero en tiempo estaba bajando el servicio y la facilidad. La cosa que pasa es que está necesario ahora para asegurar que hay más inversiones en este sector de nuestra ciudad, para asegurar que la gente podía recibir un mejor servicio de salud que existe de ahora. El seguro social, este programa, hay un demasiado de plata para invertir. Y ellos necesitan invertir en un hospital de nuevo para asegurar que la población podría recibir lo mejor servicio posible. En esta situación, nosotros conocimos que hay varias comunidades que no hay un centro de salud. Es necesario para asegurar que Belmopan, Belmopan, San Martín, Las Flores y La Ribera tienen su propio centro de salud para asegurar que nuestra gente podría accesar estos servicios fácilmente. Es un problema cuando hay un montón de gente en este hospital de regional oeste, porque el tiempo para recibir servicio de un doctor, de una enfermera, es muy largo tiempo. Y en este tiempo, nuestra gente está sufriendo. Parte del problema también es que la habilidad a tener medicinas es difícil. Al hospital, normalmente, la farmacia ahí no hay la medicina. Y la gente necesita ir a las farmacias privadas para comprarlo. Pero el precio es muy alto. Es muy caro. Y en este momento, en este tiempo, cuando el precio para sobrevivir es muy alto, tanta gente no hay la habilidad a conseguir estas medicinas, y tanta gente está sufriendo sin la medicina que necesitas. Estoy diciendo que con su apoyo nos podríamos asegurar que los recursos están, que nosotros podríamos conseguir los recursos para asegurar que cambiar esta situación, para asegurar que hay más medicinas, y medicinas a un precio bajo, para asegurar que la gente que necesitan podrían comprarlo. Conozco que si hay un nuevo hospital también, nuestra gente que está taxistas va a tener más oportunidades a tener trabajo, porque más gente va a venir a Belmopan para usar una facilidad nueva. Nuestra gente que está en el negocio de comida va a tener más negocio también, porque más gente va a venir a Belmopan para usar estos servicios también. Y podría subir la economía local de Belmopan. Belmopan es la capital, y por eso necesitamos la facilidad mejor para la salud en nuestra ciudad. Eso es un derecho de nuestra ciudad, la capital. Necesito, y la capital deseo lo mejor.
We want to look at the social welfare of our people, making sure that we look at the empowering them and Venezuela.
Mr. Eco, where are you, my friend? But let me do this. Let me do this. Una de las cosas que esta característica de la vida en Belmopan es que nuestras residencias trabajan aquí en la ciudad, y por eso los padres podían regresar a la casa a las 12 para almorzar con los hijos, y podría regresar en un tiempo pronto, después de las 5, para asegurar que los hijos están en la casa. Es muy importante para la familia a tener a los padres en una área cerca para trabajar, para asegurar que la calidad de la vida de la familia, especialmente los chiquillos, está mejor. Ahora, porque nuestro representante es un vagabundo, él no está luchando efectivamente para asegurar que nuestra gente hay trabajo adentro de Belmopan. Por ahora, nuestros padres necesitamos a viajar una larga distancia para encontrar trabajo. Y por eso no tiene la habilidad para hacer en la casa para las 12 o las 5. Y eso es parte de la razón que hay muchos chiquillos en la calle y hay muchos chiquillos que están en problemas con el ley. Porque los padres están muy lejos de su edad. Necesitamos un cambio para asegurar que hay un representante que va a luchar para asegurar que más inversiones del sector privado va a hacer aquí en Belmopan para poner trabajo adentro del país otra vez, para asegurar que nos podríamos regresar a un tiempo cuando los padres están trabajando adentro de la ciudad para hay la habilidad de regresar a la casa a las 12 y muy pronto después de las 5 para cuidar la familia, especialmente los chiquillos. Eso es una de las cosas muy importantes. Esa es parte de la vida que yo tenía cuando estaba joven y es una gran parte de la razón que estoy aquí ahorita con la habilidad a comunicar con ustedes en esta manera. Sin esta atención de mis padres, va a ser imposible. Puede ser imposible. Pero con esta atención de mis padres, hay esta habilidad. Y necesito asegurar que los niños tuyos tienen lo mismo oportunidad que yo me recibí en mi tiempo.
All right.
Estaba explicando también la situación de Venezuela. Venezuela es un gran amigo de nuestro país. Es un amigo que le di una oportunidad a nuestro país a usar $750 millones durante el programa de Petrocaribe. Pero ahora Venezuela está en una crisis. No hay comida y no hay un montón de productos. Pero nuestro vagabundo gobierno no está haciendo nada para ayudar a nuestro amigo Venezuela. Estoy explicando que es una posibilidad. Una posibilidad existe para invitar gente de Venezuela por el gobierno de ahí a venir a Belice para colocar finqueros, fábricas, cualquier que necesitas, para hacer las cosas aquí que necesitas para mandarlo allá a Venezuela. Con nos podríamos pagar nuestro préstamo que hay con este país. Pero es una idea. Me voy a continuar a desarrollarlo. Voy a explicarlo más en el futuro, en los otros programas que hay la próxima semana o algo.
All right. And as we come to the first hour of our program, before we go into
Do me up, but yeah, do me up.
before we go into the next part, let us say good night to some of our usual viewers. Shanzar, good night.
Charette, good night, my dear. How are you, mommy?
Lucille Laura, Miss Christina Garcia, Bobby Leslie. We have Miss Neil. Thanks for participating tonight. We have Rodwell Ferguson Jr. We also have Mr. Bradley, who's watching, and we thank you for joining us. And we hope that you can see that there is a plan behind this man. We want to look at now bigger issues in Belize.
There's no bigger
at home.
issue than Belmopan, but I will forgive you for that.
Okay. Let
I'll
me
forgive you
rephrase.
for that.
Yes, there's no bigger issues than Belmopan. I will agree. Now I'm talking about issues that affect our entire country, not just Belmopan, home and abroad. We have a lot of persons that are not living right now in Belize that are watching us, but they have deep concern because when you are a Belizean, no matter where you go, you are still a Belizean.
And yet, after we Belize.
Yes. And
The biggest issue,
you know exactly where I was going.
is the ICJ.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue. And it's an issue that we, as Belizeans, should all care about. And it's one that we should all put ourselves in a position to stop. Now, I know that the foreign minister has angered many, and you are rightly so angered. But being angry alone won't help. You need to re-register. If all else fails, you need to be in a position to exercise your franchise to stop this madness. Now let me say this. I want anybody out there to look in your constitution and find for me the provision in the constitution that says Belizeans at home should be treated differently than Belizeans abroad. Please, anybody listening to me, watching me tonight, that have a constitution in their home, please find and cite the provision that says Belizeans living in Belize, whether it be Santa Elena, San Ignacio, Criquisarco, San Antonio, Calcutta, San Joaquin, San Roman, San Hill, Gardenia, Maypen, or any other place in Belize are to be treated differently than Belizeans living in Chicago, in Munich, in Bonn, in any part of the world that forms the diaspora. Because I will tell you, the diaspora is not only those Belizeans living in the United States. The diaspora spans to those living in Jamaica, in Grenada, wherever Belizeans may roam. But it seems that the only Belizean in the diaspora that have any rights to register are those living in Melchor. Only the Belizeans living in Melchor can come and register. Could you find where that is written in the Constitution? Because I'm telling you, it's not there. But all this nonsense that's going on, where we are being told that our Belizeans living abroad cannot register, All this is going on because we are allowing it to happen. We are being slow marched. You see, in World War II, in the battle for the Pacific, when the Japanese invaded Guam, they had what they call the Bataan Death March, where they lined up American GIs and walked them for miles upon miles upon miles just to have them be slaughtered. Well, the government of Belize, led by Dean Barrow and Seddy Elrington, are putting Belizeans on our own form of the Bataan Death March. April 10th is the day of slaughter, and we are being led to the slaughter day by agonizing day. It's up to you if you want to go like a Christmas fowl to the 10th of April 2019. But if you want to stand up and make a difference, now is the time. It's time to resist that Bataan Death March. We are no Christmas fowl.
This week earlier, when he appeared on Open Your Eyes, he was asked the question if he believes that Belize have borders. This man actually went into a long, elaborate, I don't know what you even call that, to say that we can't look at it as borders. When we gained our independence, our borders were spelled out. I
would not want you to repeat what Seddy Elrington said, because again, it's lunacy, and it's irresponsible for a person in his position to be speaking the way he has.
It's like
one of the biggest mistakes the government of Belize has done was to set up an adjacency zone. You don't set up an adjacency zone and then take the question of Belize's territorial integrity to the ICJ, because you're already signaling to that body that you yourself are not sure of your borders. That is one of the primary reasons why we must vote no. Because to go to the ICJ and present ourselves with adjacency zones to the west will only give them license to declare adjacency zones to the south. And they will move the line. And we will lose. Because we have voluntarily yielded up territory by virtue of declaring that there's an adjacency zone which only we respect. Only we respect the adjacency zone. We have imposed on ourselves limitations in our own territory, and we continue to do it over and over again. Accepting a protocol in the Sahastoon. Ridiculous. No sovereign nation accepts a protocol over its own territory. So we have yielded up sovereignty in the Sahastoon. But again, Seddy Elrington with his nonsense will come and tell you, oh, that is not so. And that Will Mejia is somehow being irresponsible. Listen to me. Without Will Mejia, we may not have known the full extent what was going on in the Sahastoon. Thanks to Will, the public has been made aware, and now it is not going unnoticed. I say kudos. We need more like Will.
I have to address a question right now, and it's a sidebar coming from Mr. Carlos Gonzalez, because we don't shy away from questions. Mr. Galvez asked what happened to Ms. Williams who she met her with. I wasn't with you, sir.
No. Mr. Gonzalez, let me tell you that the young lady that is here moderating on my behalf is a person that I have great respect for. As a result of that, and because this show is not about her, I am not going to engage in anything about her personal life with you or anyone. Suffice it to say that I am satisfied and very proud of her resolve, resilience, and strength. I respect her. I respect her right to privacy. I hope you do too.
And thank you, Arthur. And that is the reason why I have Arthur as a friend. He has proven himself well. All right? But don't worry. That too shall pass, Mr. Gonzalez. We have Joseph Roca saying, thank you, Arthur Saldiva, for informing Belizeans of the grave danger that looms over our country. Because the advocates that are going around, to be quite honest, as far as the ICJ is concerned, tells only one side of the story. And anytime you go into a courtroom, there is that probability that you will lose.
Oh yeah.
And they have not showed you any inkling of what you are up against.
Well, there's an age-old adage. If it's too good to be true, 9 times out of 10, it isn't true. Don't believe the hype. Airtight case, watertight case. I think I heard that before. Didn't I heard that after the 9th Amendment? When we were going to start all this BTL litigation? Didn't we have the best attorneys that money can buy? And we lost every single round of litigation in that BTL misadventure that Dean Barrow led us on. But a lot of private attorneys got rich, got filthy rich. Who is going to get rich if you vote yes and we lose Belize? That's the question.
The thing is, though, if we go and we lose Belize, who then will we hold accountable?
They'll be rich and gone. They'll be rich and gone. They won't stay here with me and you. Some are already putting up their nice mansions on South Beach. Others are moving to Israel to learn Hebrew. You must remember, certain people signed a document written completely in Hebrew. He's going to go for lessons.
And that's the sad part. That's a very sad part. Because at the end of the day, we are here, and from way back, like I was explaining to some of my colleagues, there was this song where we're not giving up a country, we're not giving up a street, not a blade of grass.
No.
And then we want our country free, that is why we belong.
That was John Saldiva's favorite song. That was, I mean, you could not, the man would not pass up a mic at the karaoke without singing a blade of grass. Huh? Blade of Grass was John Saldiva's favorite tune. Now, as Minister of National Security, we lost Chicky Bull. We lost Stone. I mean, the other day, even the forward operating base at Hunting Key was in Guatemalan hands. Lord, man. that song, I don't know if he remembers the words now.
You stop singing.
Not one ripe mango.
Not one crabo.
You remember Blade of Grass, John? I mean, really. I'm inviting John Saldiva to the next town hall. I want him to come and let's debate the issues. But if you don't want to come on this town hall, I'm inviting those in the education community of Belmopan to organize a debate for John Saldiva and myself and whoever else may want to appear. There are some persons who I believe have expressed interest to run in a convention in Belmopan. Maybe they can join us in this debate, because the more we have of the ideas for the development of Belmopan, the better we will be for it. We want to have these ideas be put to the floor and tested. John Saldiva is in the position to implement ideas. We want to ensure that he has some, because right now we have come to realize that he has none. I am here to offer ideas for development to John Saldiva. Let's get it on.
We also today in the news there was this there was a report where the VIP Vision Inspired by the People have taken on the government in trying to get a court case to show that what was done in the heads of agreement was not lawful. What do you see in that?
I agree. I agree with the members of the VIP. I believe that right now, if we have many Belizeans who are from that era when the heads of agreement was a topical issue. It was like 1980, and Belizeans went to the streets in numbers to stop the government from accepting that agreement, from being a signatory to it. But if you look at the heads of agreement and the conditions and the terms of the agreement, and you check with what is our present reality, you will be able to see that each step of the head of agreement has been implemented. Only one left. Only one left. As I explained to you, we have been put on that baton that march, and they are treating us like Christmas fowls, sending us to the slaughter. Only one condition from the heads of agreement remain. We have been put to sleep, and as a result, they are dwindling away our rights and giving us lock, stock, and barrel to Guatemala.
Good night, Mr. Bobby. Hello. Bobby Leslie says hello, Arthur.
Hello, Excellency.
All right. Again, another person that we should hear from. I would like to have him sit one day and give us his position, because I know that Mr. Leslie was at the time one of those people who went to the United Nations as far as Belize's independence was concerned, and made sure that our boundaries were properly mapped out.
Robert Leslie is our foremost diplomat. Without him, we would not be where we are as an independent nation. He did most of the heavy lifting in the international community. I respect him immensely. I believe that the country of Belize owes him a debt of gratitude, although he, being the modest and humble person that I know him to be, would not want to accept.
True.
But on behalf of the residents of Belmopan and Belize, thank you very much. I really hope that one day you would grace the airwaves with your point of view.
Because we've heard from
On
Assad
this
Schuman a lot. But it was not only Assad Schuman who was there. You have to remember that there was
Assad
another...
Schuman was the parliamentarian. He was sitting in Belmopan most of the time. The diplomat, the architect in foreign affairs who was doing the heavy
work.
lifting in the international community was Robert Leslie.
Mr.
Let the record show.
Yes. And many times we have seen certain documentary with Mr. Bobby giving his little thing, but I think there's so much more. There is so much more we would like to see him do.
Glennis, let's move on. I don't want, because
we'll put him in a corner.
no, and I don't want that to happen.
I know, no, Mr. Bobby, I won't do that to you. But honestly, I would like to hear some information coming from him. But more so, Arthur, as far as the people of Belize are concerned, when it comes to certain issues that we've been having, for example, we have the ICJ on our head, and come April, we need to make sure that we get out the vote. But at the same time, we find that a lot of people, because our leaders are telling you this is how you are supposed to lean, without questioning what is happening, without and some of the things, like I say to my kids, because I discuss it. I said we are living in a home, we have fence, and if my neighbor come and say, oh, you need to move this fence post, let's agree to go to court so you can move it. If I have my papers and I have my title, why must I go through a process where I have to spend money that our country don't have? Why should we go there?
We shouldn't. It makes no sense. The only reason why there are those who are pushing the issue is because they have something to gain. And they will never tell us what they are gaining from this exercise. So, since there is no transparency and certainly no accountability, my simple message is, hell no, we won't go. We should not be going. We should not even be entertaining the thought. There is another way to resolve this issue.
And that is what I want you to get into. Before we get into it, good night, Mr. Christopher Benefield. We are here, and thank you for joining us. But
night,
yes, we're not just saying no. There is a way in which we believe it can be settled, and the people have to understand there is a plan. But let's hear from the man with the plan.
Well, the time is kind of short to get into all that plan, but here's the situation. Guatemala has always wanted to be able to realize a link between the Atlantic and the Pacific. They wanted to do that from before 1859. But in 1859, they believed they had a partner that would have allowed them to realize that dream. Having constructed the road from Jutiapa, which is on Guatemala's Pacific side, to Guatemala City, they had done half of the work themselves. All they needed was the road to connect the Atlantic to Guatemala City now. Well, they still need that road. We in Belize are part of the Riviera Maya. Our entire coastline forms a part of the Riviera Maya. However, we do not get any benefit from it because the roadway linking Cancun, which sits at the apex of the Riviera, to the Sarstoon Island, which sits at the bottom of it, does not exist. What we need to do is to make that investment, and it's not for government to do, only for government to give the right of way, so that the private sector can realize that. Get that road built. Once that is done, we would be in a position to work mutually with Guatemala to realize its ambition, but on our terms. Mutual economic cooperation to allow for access from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Not the way they have envisioned it, where they would have a port access in Belize to use free of cost. That is the heads of agreement. No. We will do our portage and portage fee in Belize. They will do their portage fee in Guatemala on the Pacific side. We run the Atlantic, they run the Pacific, and mutually we benefit. It is still a viable project. It is one that we can realize together by having the private sector of both nations come together to get it done, and invite other private sector participants, possibly from mainland China. Time to put Taiwan behind. Everybody else in the Caribbean has done away with Taiwan. We need to move beyond Taiwan and have mainland China become our partner. I won't go into more detail tonight, but certainly understand there is a way to resolve this.
All right. Well, we're fast coming, as I said, to the end. We have just under 5 minutes that is left. And we would like to say thank you for allowing us into your living rooms. We want to thank those people who participated with their questions. And there's something that you need to also know, that if during the week, should you have a question for the town hall, but you may not be able to, or you don't want to come on the town hall with your question, you can go on the page and you can leave your question, and we will be able to put forth that question. You inbox and you say, look, I don't want my name called, I don't want everybody to see my name there, but this is what I see and this is how I feel, and that is, at the end of the day, we would be able to address your concerns and your queries so that you become a vital part. We are putting back power in the hands of the people. Servants of the people is what Arthur is asking you to be. A servant where we can develop Belize. Alright? You have the power. And you must always remember you have the power. And therefore, it is imperative that you participate, that your voice is heard.
Thank you very much for being a part of our weekly town hall. Ladies and gentlemen, I have enjoyed my time with you once again. I hope that you have been able to digest the information that I have been able to share with you. I thank you very much for your questions. I look forward to next week doing it again, continuing our great conversation for development of Belmopan and Greater Belize. Damas y caballeros, gracias, muchísimas gracias para permitirme hacer adentro su casa otra vez para compartir mis mensajes. En este momento estoy invitando a todos a regresar la próxima semana para la programa otra vez, cuando nosotros estamos discutiendo el desarrollo de nuestra ciudad Belmopan y Belize. Thank you. Good night from Studio 21 in the heart of Belmopan. Love you.
Night, night.